Welcome back, everyone, to another race in Data Drivers. Data Drivers is our series of races and hackathons where we invite you to get your hands on the wheel and on the data with Splunk's Data to Everything platform. Today's race is at Brands Hatch, and we're going to have some fun in iRacing and some GT3 cars. But I want to introduce you to my co-host today. Co-host is Kyle Prinz, who you saw racing with us in last month's series, and we're excited to have him back. Kyle, welcome to Data Drivers.
Hey, thank you. It's good to be back. You know, I'm particularly excited for today's race, but also tomorrow's hackathon as well, where we're going to be diving into a bit more of the data integration. Now, if you did miss last month's hackathon, we started with installing the Smart Agent from Splunk's Observability Cloud. It was a super easy install to get into your gaming PC and then use Splunk Observability Cloud to get some insights out of the gaming rig that is powering iRacing. So if you did miss that, you can actually check out YouTube for last month's hackathon and jump right into the data and get caught up.
Absolutely. Well, very cool, Colin. I want to invite everybody, if you're first time tuning in and you're interested in joining us, either racing or in the hacking, all you got to do is click on the link over there in our chat and in the show notes, and you'll be able to register, and then we'll give you all the access to the iRacing session information so you can race with us, and then we'll also give you access to the hackathon lab, which is where, as Kyle mentioned, we get our hands on the data. We actually provide our registrants with access to Splunk Observability Cloud and get hands-on with the data. Now, for today's race, we've got a mix of some Splunkers and some incredible Splunk customers in truly a global field. Kyle, we've got folks from not only here in the U.S. where you and I are, but we've got some friends joining us from the U.K., which is actually where this track is, which is, I think, just perfect.
Might even give him a little bit of a home field advantage, you know, so we'll have to watch out for him here on the tail end of this.
That's right. Well, if anybody watched the last race, you know that John Hayward does not need much in terms of home field advantage. That dude can just flat out drive. Well, tuning in here, you see these beautiful GT3 cars getting underway. That's John Hayward leading the way in the boss of the sock McLaren GT3 car, blowing out some flames out the back like those McLarens do, looking fantastic. Now you'll see here that we've got some incredible data flowing out of iRacing and being brought to life on these cool overlays, and we're going to be using some of those same APIs and SDKs to be pulling data from iRacing here shortly. But as you see the field coming together, that's Jeremy in what looks to be the Zoolander mobile. Is that what that is?
I believe so. It looks like he's gotten a little cheeky on the custom design there. I did see something in the race where he had a...
Oh, Kyle! Oh, no. Spin, turn 3. That's terrible. Well, I actually upgraded this time to a sweet new paint. That's our friends at Veloce Esports. That's their racing skin, and Splunk is excited to be a sponsor of Veloce Esports. And if y'all haven't tuned in to these before, the Data Driver series is excited to welcome McLaren's Shadow Esports team to participate with us. Now, last race we had one of their development drivers with us. Today we had some scheduling conflicts, couldn't get one of those pro drivers in the seat for us today, but they'll be back next month in a big way. But what's really neat about the series is having the perspective of the manager of McLaren's Shadow Esports team join us. That's Tobin Lee, and Tobin joins us on the hackathons and actually tells us a little bit about what we ought to be doing. Kyle, what did you think about Tobin's insights last time in the hackathon?
You know, I thought he did a really good job of explaining out just exactly where they care about the data and what their strategy is around using data. You know, when you have these cars that can generate so much information about it, it can be a bit overwhelming.
Oh, there goes Niall losing it there in looks like turn 2. That's a challenging one. It's kind of interesting when you come out of the turn. There's this gray area that looks like it's grass, but it's actually green painted concrete. And so a lot of times drivers in that turn, you turn in too early because if you're new to the track, you don't know that there's that run out area out there. And I can tell you, I struggled mightily with that. And it wasn't actually until I went back and watched John Hayward's laps during practice and saw what he was doing and shaved 2 seconds off my lap time. So that was pretty handy.
Maybe that's what I need to start doing. You know, I am excited to have Niall in the back there with me to maybe have a little bit of competition. I do need to figure out the track a bit more on this. You know, I was playing with my braking bias a bit during qualifying, which I absolutely should not have been doing. But I think I might have overturned it a bit, and we'll see if I can fix that on the back end. But yeah, with Tobin, you know, it was really fascinating to see just the amount of data that you can get, and what to prioritize out of that, and how to place it into proper visualizations to be able to pull insights out of that and make decisions off of that. So I found that particularly fascinating.
Absolutely. Well, interesting. So we're racing here. If for those of you maybe new to Data Drivers, this is all being hosted on the iRacing platform. Sort of one of the leaders in racing simulation. There's a handful of them out there that the professional esports teams use. iRacing is gaining popularity mostly because during the pandemic there was this shift in live motorsports. Now here we're right behind the Zoolander mobile. Does that say WWBZD? That's what would Billy Zane do? That is incredible detail and commitment to the Zoolander theme there, Jeremy. Nice work. Well, so iRacing growing in popularity because a lot of the actual motorsports, you know, live racing leagues during the pandemic shifted to a virtual environment, and iRacing was the selection for both NASCAR and Indy, and so very popular with that group. But I will tell you, the McLaren Shadow. Oh, Jeremy and Mugatu takes it in the nose. Turns out Zoolander can only turn left. Turning right, really challenging for that one.
You know, fashion will only get you so far. Sometimes it comes down to raw talent.
That's true. You gotta look good and drive good. Well, it's actually interesting. The McLaren Shadow team is competing as we speak in something called the V10r League, and the V10r League is a league hosted on Assetto Corsa, the simulation platform, and it's driving this car that is purposely designed only for the game, not a real life comparison. But the McLaren Shadow team competing there, and they took a draw with Fordzilla last week, and this week looks like they're going to put up a fight with the Williams team, and hopefully get in the lead there.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating to see these companies start to embrace esports and even start to make some moves within it. You know, I was absolutely astounded at the skill level and the competitiveness, but then also the market that there is for this league that is coming up. You know, it's absolutely fascinating to be a part of.
Yeah, and it shouldn't surprise folks, I don't guess, that, you know, when we started talking with some of the McLaren team and the Splunk folks internally about you know, this series and why we thought it was important, but it turns out a lot of you gamers out there are actually working jobs in IT, which I guess shouldn't surprise us, given that Kyle, you and I love this thing and we work in IT. But you know, it's sort of amazing to us how many folks, you know, really tune in to esports. The volume of people that are paying attention is astonishing, and frankly, the amount of money being spent, you know, to make esports, you know, kind of great, and the amount of money that, you know, some of these drivers can actually make is really astounding. So to be part of it is great, and hopefully you all are enjoying this race series, but also seeing how we bring truly data to everything. I mean, bringing data to esports is for us is super fun, but we hope it's a lot of fun for you.
Yeah, and I'm particularly looking forward to tomorrow's hackathon as well. Because what we're going to be focusing on is actually pulling the data out of the iRacing platform. So last month, if you missed out, you know, we did the getting the data out of that entire gaming PC so we could see, you know, information around memory, network, disk. But now we're taking a look, you know, a step further up and taking a look through the iRacing platform. So we're getting all kinds of metrics out of that. I think there was, how many, over 300?
Yeah, it's over 300 out of iRacing. Well, I'll tell you what, Kyle, it looks like you're pulling into the pits for a little bit of repair, but why don't we do this? Why don't we jump over to a little bit of series, or a little segment we call Insights with Splunk Observability Cloud, and take a look at exactly what we built in Splunk's Observability Cloud last time in the hackathon.
I've logged into Splunk's Observability Cloud, and here we have a pre-configured dashboard that is listing out all of the hosts with agent installed on them. Now, these hosts are running throughout the day, and we have quite a few from around the world. As you can see, we have a total of 4 hosts. We are also showcasing the CPU usage percentage, total disk IOPS, disk space, memory percent used, as well as some networking information there. Now, where this could get really interesting is, let's say you're a team manager and you're needing to take a look at whose PC or whose gaming rig is performing poorly or performing well, and where do we start to spend our budget to improve those gaming machines throughout the season. Now, as you can see here, we have one in particular that is getting pegged with CPU, and it looks like that's Matty Mo's iRacing rig. So we'll come over here to this host with agent installed dashboard. This is also a pre-configured dashboard out of the box through Splunk Observability Cloud. We'll click on Matty Mo iRacing rig. And from here, we get quite a bit of a deep view into what's going on. And you can see that we've got 96% used on the CPU, as well as 85% memory used. So what we would want to do from here is take a look and see what's going on with Matty Mo's computer, see what application it's running, and then talk to him about whether or not we need to provide a better CPU or maybe provide a memory upgrade and get some more insights out of that. Please feel free to dive in and see what insights you can pull out of Splunk Observability Cloud as well. Back to you on the track.
Well, thanks, Kyle, for those insights. It's what a beautiful user experience that Observability Cloud provides. That's pretty impressive. Well, back in the racing action, it looks like I've been able to hold on to second place, fending off Jeremy Howerton to the best of my abilities. We'll see how that happens. Kyle, you've fallen into fifth place, and how are things going back there? I know you mentioned earlier you were messing with brake bias. What's happening here?
Things are going better now, despite my my total gap time. It is inconsistency will kill your race, and that's exactly what happened. I should have kept the bias the same, but because that two big crashes led to me having to pit and adjusting that bias on the fly. So now I've got it adjusted, and my lap times are starting to look a bit more consistent. So I'm pretty happy about that. It was just too late of an adjustment in the race so far. So I'm not holding out much hope for a podium finish here, but we'll see.
Well, for those of you who aren't aware, so brake bias is the ability to shift braking pressure between the front and rear brakes. And so what Kyle had done is he had loaded up the front brakes with a bit more of the braking pressure, which causes the car to lean a bit more aggressively forward as you enter a turn. Now, that does sort of allow a couple things to happen. It allows the car to be a bit more stable in what's called trail braking, so which is a light amount of braking that you're still doing as you're turning in for your turn. And dialing it in is really specific to the car and to the driver preferences. And candidly, it's one of those things that it depends on how heavy your foot is. Your inputs can also be shaped by the kind of racing rig you're using. So in our case, Kyle and I both are using a Logitech G920 wheel, which is a nice but pretty entry level sort of racing setup. Unlike some of the other folks on the league who are using direct drive wheels with load cell pedals, which means that they're much more similar to a real car experience. The feel is much more tactile in your inputs, and frankly the force feedback, the feel of the road is much more hands-on. So kind of interesting the amount of tuning that you can do. We certainly, I can tell you this, if you looked at the virtual race.conf, we couldn't have spelled brake bias during that series.
And you're absolutely right. It absolutely depends upon your setup. I've since moving back, my setup isn't exactly where I want it to be, and I'm having a little bit of give in some of my controls, and I think that's having a negative effect on my brake bias and handling that there. So I think I'll do some more practice time, and hopefully we'll see some better lap times.
Well, kudos to you for allowing the leader to get by you. I know it's not fun to get lapped, but John is an A. We see up here we've got our license information in the leaderboard there, and John is an A-class racer, which means he has spent a lot of time behind the wheel. And oh no, I have spun out in the turn 7. Lost it, and Jeremy Howerton in the Mugatu machine. Honestly, it's one of these things where I was getting aggressive turning in and missed my mark a bit and slid out into the grass. And one of the things that's really challenging on iRacing is grass is ridiculously slippery. It is crazy. And so if you touch the grass, specifically, it seems like Brands Hatch has a special breed of grass that is super slippery. If you touch it, it is almost impossible to save it. So Jeremy gets by me as I spin out there in a nasty wreck, damaging that beautiful Veloce car. I do want to call folks' attention. So one, we've got this Data Drivers races happening. If you miss them on Twitch here, you can check them out over on Splunk's YouTube channel. And I also want to tell folks that you can go back and see the hackathons that Kyle mentioned. Those videos are all there. And we've got links in the chat for you to see, one, how to register, and then one, how to go back and check out those pieces of content. But one thing I wanted to call everybody's attention to is for each of our hackathons that we do, we're creating a blog post that actually recaps all the things that we covered with sort of some step-by-step instructions on where to get access to the information, where to read more if you want to get hands-on, and frankly, where you can learn more and challenge yourself to build something above and beyond what we're even creating. So definitely go back and check out those blogs. Oh no, it has happened 2 times in a row. You can see the skid marks there. I literally wrecked the exact same spot again on that lap 10. That is embarrassing how bad I'm driving.
Corey, you are not. You're taking a page out of my book there.
Oh, well, it turns out these cars don't really have great hood control. Apparently, if you put them into the wall, they lose their hood, because we've got Mugatu is minus his hood. I'm minus mine. But the interesting thing, though, is that both of us, Jeremy and I, both kind of hit the wall direct, so didn't really damage our steering, so we're able to continue the race. There's Niall putting it down, and that paint looks pretty close to the McLaren F1 paint.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you can see a lot of familiar logos and faces there, as well as that McLaren color scheme that's beautiful. Now, I am looking at the leaderboard, and I'm noticing Niall is closing in on Corey.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah, you can actually see there in the frame, I'm just about 8 seconds ahead. And frankly, Niall, who's a veteran of the virtual race to .conf, he was somebody who was constantly challenging me, but I'm proud to say he did not unseat me from taking third in that series, and it looks like third is what we're fighting for here. So speaking of .conf, actually, folks, if you don't know, Splunk's .conf, which is Splunk's annual technology conference, is happening in October this year. And while last year we were completely virtual due to the pandemic globally, this year it looks like, unless things change, it looks like the conference is going to be hybrid. So there will be an in-person portion of the conference for those of you who have just absolutely been lost without a trip to Vegas in a while. It looks like it's coming back. And for those of you who don't feel safe being, in person, certainly going to have the ability to participate in lots of ways virtually as well. But for those of you who are techies, who are Splunky in nature and have something that you want to talk about specific to Splunk, the call for papers is open now, open through May 6th. So you just have a few more days that if you want to submit a talk track, then you can certainly do so with .conf and have a chance to actually speak at the conference. Again, maybe potentially in person, maybe virtually. Kyle, are you excited to be? Are you pitching anything for the conference?
I'm thrilled. We've submitted a couple. We'll see how they go. We're doing one. Obviously, we got to try one around racing, and then another one just around some good best practices around video and audio quality. In this Zoom world, it's always good to be able to present yourself in a high quality fashion, and we've learned tried and true quite a bit on how to fix that. So we'll see what happens. We do have a blog post at bigdatabeard.com that you can dive in and check out some of our insights and inputs from that, as well as if you are wanting to speak at .conf and you're not quite sure how to do it or how to get started or anything like that, be sure to reach out to your Splunk team. They'd be more than happy to help coach you along the way, find a good topic, and get all that properly submitted. So don't be shy. Maybe even in the Splunk user group Slack channel, reach out, and friendly face there will be able to help you out as well.
That sounds good, man. Well, I'll tell you what, the race is looking pretty tidy now. Niall is continuing to put pressure on, only about 5 seconds back, and he is really going to try to challenge. Oh, and look there, he's actually running a second and a half faster than the laps I was putting down. So he is closing that gap really, really effectively, which is not good for me. It's interesting too. I think Niall seems to be showing some better consistency than I am, which is something that we learned. Is very true. Oh, and look, he actually realizes now later in his laps that there's that run out area. He's using that effectively, so that's good to see him make that change. Although not excited that it's helping him track me down so effectively.
A little bit of a mixed bag there for you, right?
I love it and I hate it. Let's be honest.
Well, hey, it looks like you're actually throwing down some pretty consistent lap times here as well. So this could be a pretty exciting showdown here. Now that car is absolutely beaten.
I have not taken care of my car, and I feel bad for the team at Veloce that I wore their gear, so to say, and have damaged it so much. Oh, that's tough. But I will say I love the blue of that Veloce. It just looks fantastic. And again, Splunk is excited to partner with the McLaren Shadow team and Veloce Esports as a sponsor this year, as well as I saw some logos from Logitech, which we're clearly big fans of their gear. For those of you who didn't notice, we got some new headsets. These are Logitech Pro X gaming headsets, and I am a huge fan. Kyle, what's your experience been with the Logitech gear?
You know, they're comfortable, they sound great, and then your microphone is very high quality as well. So they meet every option that I am chasing down, and I'm really excited about. So you know, you can do headphone out, you can do USB out. They've got the drivers with, was it Yeti, Corey?
Yeah, it's the Blue Voice. So Blue is the company behind the Yeti microphones, and so you get Yeti-like quality in a headset. And looky there, Niall is going to give up the opportunity to get after third place with that spin out there. Candidly, you know, we've
out of my book.
We've got less than a minute left in the racing action, and to close what is now turning into a more than 15-second gap is just going to be beyond his capability, unless I take a page out of your playbook and wreck on the final lap here. I think the white flag may be out for the leader. I'm guessing it's going to be out shortly, if not. Incredible racing action here. I am super excited tomorrow to talk again with Tobin Lee, and what we're going to be doing with him is actually he's going to be giving us during the hackathon guidance on what kinds of data we should be interested in from the iRacing APIs, for the purpose of building insights for him as a team manager. And I want to make sure that's abundantly clear for you folks who are joining us at these hackathons, is this is not just, you know, data for the sake of data or racing data just for fun. We are building data insights for McLaren using guidance from McLaren's Shadow Esports team, and they are giving us guidance as if they were our customer. So if you think, you know, and I say customer, you could be your internal customer, consumer of some dashboards and alerts and capabilities you build with data. So I definitely ask everybody to tune back in on Twitch tomorrow for that. And candidly, if you want to get your hands on Splunk Observability Cloud, you want to bring data from your race into Splunk, or if you frankly just want to get your hands on some data, you don't have an iRacing rig, but you're really interested in seeing how you build this stuff, you know, in Splunk, sign up, because you don't have to go racing with us. The hackathons are free to join. You can get your hands on the data with us with some great guidance. We'll invite you to the Discord channel so you can get support, and it should be a lot of fun. Well, looks like John Hayward takes the checkered flag there. Kyle, they've already waved the flag at you being a lap down. Sorry, buddy. Tough deal to come in last today.
It's all right though. You know, with the talent that I'm facing right now, I think fifth place is is about the best I'll be able to do, and that's okay. We'll see how we go next month.
That's right. Well, tune back in, folks, to Twitch for the broadcasts each month. And again, our hackathon is tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And it's the final hackathon where we're going to be worried about getting data in to Splunk. We're shifting gears next month, and we're going to start talking about building some real interesting insights powered by Splunk's IT service intelligence, using their inbuilt machine learning to drive some insights. Kyle, thanks for joining me for today's Data Drivers. Congratulations to John for winning. And we look forward to seeing you all on Twitch tomorrow for the hackathon. Whatever you're into, be data-driven. Join Data Drivers.